Because I also realized when you're talking, I am listening in, and this would prepare me to shoot there. Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Creator to Creator talk show, and today we are hosting one of the biggest names in this illustration space of the creative industry, Mr. Arinitwe Cosmas. This is going to be a two-part episode because our guest, Mr. Arinitwe Cosmas, has a lot to share with you. So stay tuned for episode 3, part 1. So you're welcome, Mr. Cosmas. Please tell us a brief about yourself, your journey to self-discovery, and why you really chose to be an illustrator.
Thank you, Darlene, and your colleagues for having me here. I'm more than privileged to be here to talk about a few things that you think I may know. About myself, like you said, I'm Arinitwe Cosmas. I'm an artist, a visual artist that has majored mostly on the side of illustration. Yeah. So my journey as an artist, like all stories begin, people who have turned out to be artists, you find that they started at an early age, as a kid, in school. You find yourself doodling and sketches and you know that kind of the typical artist's story, the typical Ugandan artist's story. We all know we don't have art lessons or teachers in primary, so you just do it out of passion, on a personal, individual basis. Then of course we moved on into secondary, and you know, at all these stages, I will not lie to you that I had this vision, this extra passion, and my ultimate goal being an artist. No, I did not have it. You just roll with life, you know, as you go and
as you grow, things keep changing.
Yeah, you see it is maybe a talent, a passion, but you don't envision it as a career.
I get you.
So my very first choice was to go into medicine. And I remember when I was feeling it was either medicine or arts. So when I was even feeling those courses, I remember putting medicine first, then art second, and then the other medical courses. And then my career guidance teacher was like, but why? Why are you putting art second? What if you get it? So she made me change it to putting it. Are there 6 choices? 6 choices. So I put it number 6. And she substituted the others with other medical related courses. So you can see the attitude that we have in the country, which is part of maybe a bigger problem. So evidently, as you see, I did not get medicine.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, I remember going to the New Vision, and the lady at the reception told me the only jobs that were recently available were cleaning jobs, and I've just been taken by a cleaning agency. So my friend,
You have no future here.
sort yourself. So I bounced, so dejected and we gave up. So my friend was called Alfred, was a very, very good artist. This is vacation.
Yeah.
You know, he called me and I couldn't believe illustrating for the Daily Monitor. I'm their cartoonist. Like, what? And this is something we used to dream about just the year before in senior 6, and it has already come to pass. Like, so you should never give up, always believe. So as he worked there, we kept on communicating, and he told me as he interacted with senior people, senior illustrators at the time, the Stanos, they were Kenyans, told him illustration in a media company like a newspaper may not fetch you a lot of money, but it will gain you maybe the mileage, the public mileage, the fame. But if you want some bit of money, you go to publishing houses. So that's when he called me and was like, hey, my friend, I think there is more hope. Let's try this out. So that's when we went to MK Publishers. Yeah, I went with him, yes. We did trials with a generous man called Mr. Nduga. Coincidentally, there was a project at the time. So he gave us some of the assignments from that project, did our trials and took them back to him. So he would just see raw talent, which is very, very, very unrefined. But he actually accepted. And even and he actually paid for that work. So that's when we first genuinely earned from our talent. So when I saw the money that was coming out of illustration, I was like, I didn't even know that this existed. So that influenced my decisions within that time towards campus. It cleared my doubts about art.
Yeah, this is
my
pride.
So I was like, let me do art. So I opted for art, and now there is history. That's where I am.
The rest is who you are now. Cosmas, thank you for that very nice and brief introduction of yourself. And now to the next question. Now I understand there is a lot of uncertainties in the creative industry relating to the field of illustration. Please, would you mind sharing with us how one can go through those uncertainties and come out to be really successful?
About uncertainties or challenges in the industry, there are two main uncertainties.
Let's talk about those.
Actually, challenges. Challenges, two main challenges, of which one is uncertainty. Which draws me back to what I had said earlier, that maybe I got to work at MK Publishers. Now at the time, we were quite excited that, hey, we have got a job, and not knowing that it was a running project. We were just lucky that we found a running project. So a few months later, hey, we saw deadlines. And then I asked a colleague, what is this deadline about? Like, hey, we are wrapping up and we are going home. They're like, what? I thought this is some sort of a job or going on something. So it didn't bother me that much because anyway, campus was starting. So you don't feel that. But anyway, that is one of the main challenges. What do you do next after that? But I think when you're starting out, you just need to be quite open to whatever that comes up. And when you get the chance to do it, you may not get a lot of money from the very first jobs you get, but do them well and develop relationships with those people. So after a period, like maybe your first year of working, you have established a great number of links. And most of the jobs I've done have come from references, from past.
Do something
Yeah.
nice and
Yeah, word of mouth is like the best way of marketing before it comes down to any form of posting your work on social media or anything. The very first way to get reliable work is from your past clients and their referrals. That's one of it. Then, yeah, I think that's it. The other challenge would be about getting paid and finances or something like that.
You're now driving to our third question. Where there are a lot of complaints by people who do the same work. Like the clients do not pay in time, or they do not pay you the agreed amount, like your commission for starters. So how do you go about that?
From a very, very early stage in life, I got a challenge with that kind of challenge. We were still in school, and we did a piece at school, and it was supposed to be auctioned, and there were verbal agreements, verbal agreements with people, and we did not expect it to make a lot of returns at the time. So we'll take like 10%. I can't recall the actual figures. So 10% of it turned out to be like 1 million when they auctioned it. But now how can the whole, let's say, club take, let's say, 900 and you a single student takes maybe
100,000.
100,000. So they were like, but now where did we agree on paper,
Because it
on
was
pen and
verbal.
paper? So it taught me that it is important to have things documented. Yeah, things documented when you're starting out. So even from the very beginning projects we had understandings, written understandings. However crude they were, but they were written.
Yes.
Something you can refer to.
Yes, you have something to refer to when
in
someone defaults. Yes.
When the worst comes to the worst. Yes. But then above all, the most important thing is your working relationship with people. Yeah, if they are good, then you will definitely be paid. First, to deal with people as human beings, it helps a lot. But then we paid backup of documentation.
Okay. Thank you for that lesson about how you go with the relationship you create between your clients. It's very good. And then the third thing I would ask you is, do you find illustration, do you find your work hard, or it is kind of something that is laid out straight and
people have the misconception that maybe you guys are talented. You guys are talented, so you just sit down and ooze art and you ooze color, and then you just ooze, harmony and all these nice things. But it takes a lot of hard work. In itself, work is never meant to be easy, because if it were easy, then everyone would be doing it. So a lot of dedication that is required to pull it off. Because whenever someone says maybe you're talented and your drawings are always being nice, but when I look at the work, for example, that got me to work at the different organizations, especially the early stages, like let's say, for example, MK, the very first time, I look at it and I put myself in the publishing manager's shoes, and what was he thinking to accept this work? He must have been very desperate or something. So it looks very, very horrible. Yeah. And even right now, I'm sure I'll look at my work in 5 years and I'll not want to look at it. I don't know. It's a common thing in most. So you find that it is just a lot of dedication.
In the whole industry thing of illustration, what's that particular hardest part? Let's say you may be drawing something, or is it the correction, or I'm trying to figure out that small part that it's hard, not the whole.
Okay, not art as a whole.
Yes.
If you look at illustration,
Mm.
the backbone of illustration is drawing. Whether you're drawing on paper, whether you're drawing on a tablet, whether you're drawing on a Cintiq, it is drawing. Yeah?
Mm.
If you get drawing, then you're more than 50% there. There is a difference between drawing for illustration and drawing for maybe people usually see portraits. That's very talented.
Mm.
It is very easy to have a reference image and then you're copying and you're reproducing. But in most cases, drawing for illustration requires you to understand, not to transfer information directly, but to understand maybe the underlying anatomy or most of the boring background things you don't want to, you may not want to hear now, but to understand so that you're able to reproduce this work in different ways, plus your imagination, minus necessarily having to reference or looking up reference material all the time. That is the challenging bit. Most people who go into illustration get frustrated when at times they are required to draw things that do not exist in real life, and then you find it challenging because you don't have maybe an image at the internet that looks like what you want for you to reproduce. That is when you make the step from normal drawing to illustration and maybe animation.
Okay, thank you for elaborating it more. Next, share with us, what is your creative process like that you have, or like right now, what is the creative process like, and how do you do it? Do you have a formula that you follow to make sure you bring out something productive or something really nice, or you just wake up in the morning and you do just what you do?
In the visual communication industry, in the creative industry, there is no one size fits all solution. Every client you get has a different need from your most previous one. You are as good as your current client. Every new task is like your first day at school. It is totally new. So in that case, the very first and most important part is always research. Yeah, for any challenge you get, you have to extensively research so that you develop work that speaks to that client in that very context they need it, so that it makes sense to their audience and they relate with it. The difference between what we do and the other forms of art is that there isn't as much freedom for you, the artist, because also artists have this thing of saying, I need to put myself in the work, feel it. It is like my communication, my letter to the audience. With this, you put almost yourself out of it, prioritize your client and their audience. You make work for communication. After nailing that, then you put in the awesomeness. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. There is this person who is looking up to you. Let's say me, I am looking up to you.
Okay.
How or what do I need what effort do I need, or is that thing, that one thing that I need to do to be very good in what you do or what I'll be doing?
In all fields that people prosper at, whenever someone approaches you, they are, let's say, someone is a successful entrepreneur and you want to be a very good entrepreneur. Yes, there are secrets and what, but people always come and ask you like there is that one magic hidden thing
that you don't share
that you don't share with other people.
Yes.
But generally, it is down to the practice, like I said before, because unlike all fields, I think I would like to be honest. I know corruption and connections are everywhere in the world, and they help you in one way or the other. But I would say that to an extent, in this industry, I would like to say that it isn't as much, because it is always down to how good you are. Even if you're my sister, I'll not take you up when you're going to do not nice things, and I show them to my organization or what, just because it is someone I know. If you're not good, you're not good. So the very first thing is to get good. When you become good,
so how
for this industry, I can say that you will get all the opportunities. You will get the opportunities. There is no kind of back door that you need to access. It isn't there. When you're good, then you will get the opportunities, and in due time you'll make it. Now, how do you get good?
Yes. Which
is apparently a lot of practice, like I've said, and also research, and also under research is making good use of the internet. Most of the things I'm using during my work we learned outside or after campus or after the classroom. The side research we used to do individually as students on YouTube and wherever, the things we taught ourselves, because they never teach you any of these softwares or any of this, that personal initiative.
So yes. You get good by digging deeper and being curious to know, or teach yourself more and more.
Good enough, we are in an age where information is at your fingertips. Just buy a few MBs and you Google how to do literally anything. Yes.
And there you have your answers.
Yes.
Thank you for that very good explanation. I hope our audience is really listening in and catching up.